Are you feeling nostalgic? I don't know about you, but I've been feeling nostalgic lately. This is a topic that's near and dear to my heart, and it's something that I've wanted to talk about for a while, but really haven't had the time to sit down and talk. But in the middle of summer, where everybody's plates are mostly free, I feel like now's the best time to talk about it. In today's video, I'm going to try to answer the three big questions regarding this topic. The why, the how, and the what. Why are we feeling nostalgic? How is it affecting us? And more importantly, the big question, what is nostalgia? While I can't speak for everyone, it feels like a lot of people are starting to feel nostalgic and have nostalgic memories. And you can really see this a lot if you just go on the internet, whether that be Instagram, TikTok, even here on YouTube. There are a lot of posts about nostalgia, about the good old days and what those days were like. And it seems like more and more these posts are becoming more and more common. But why? The why to this question, I think, is actually quite simple, and it's really answered when you look at who's on the internet and who's more prevalent online, and that's younger people, or rather, younger adults, such as millennials and Gen Z. In the year 2023, a lot of people from the Gen Z group are now in a part of life where they're either growing up or in their early adulthood, which is a really important and scary time. It's those vital years where it's just uncertainty after uncertainty. What are you going to do in the future? And that seemingly unbreakable safety net of childhood is now gone. As late teenagers and young adults continue to discover who they are and what they're going to do, it's natural that people tend to look back on the days that you didn't have to worry about that. Didn't have to worry about jobs, didn't have to worry about a future. All you really had to worry about was what you were going to do the next day, whether that be hanging out with friends or playing video games. But now in early adulthood, that time has passed. And I can say with a relative degree of certainty that most people are feeling this nostalgic wave wash over them. You can really tell that by the internet posts. As I stated previously, if you go on Instagram or go on TikTok, I think you'd be hard-pressed to not find a post that talks about the early 2000s or the late 90s. Usually accompanied by a slideshow of old nostalgic pictures and very emotional songs. Those videos and those pictures, they work. They make you feel. And they make you look back on a time when things were so much more simple. When you didn't have to worry about the future. And you were just living in the present. With this massive influx of nostalgic imagery on the internet through Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, any kind of social media site, it's affected the online culture tremendously. How, you might be asking? Well, I've got one word to answer that. Or two words. Backrooms. Now, I'm well aware that the backrooms have been around for a while, and it isn't exactly a new thing. But in recent years, it seems that it has become more and more popular. I'm sure most people are well aware of the classic yellow hallway with fluorescent lights and weird lighting. It's kind of an iconic picture now. In recent years, other similar trends has also branched off of these nostalgic liminal pictures. The backrooms has been expanded, though to a lot of people's chagrin, which has led to more nostalgic pictures, but in a multitude of different environments, whether that be schools, buildings, pools. And it's also led to a multitude of other types of pictures that aren't related to the backrooms at all, like dreamcore, or weirdcore, or more importantly, nostalgiacore. Pictures that are meant to invoke feeling. They have the sole purpose of making you look back. And some of these pictures have been modified for some sort of creepy aesthetic, where the rooms are darkened or maybe a weird little creature is added in. And sometimes the pictures are just there for nostalgia. Sometimes they're just creepy on their own. And it goes beyond the backrooms as well, just to clarify. It seems that a lot of people, including myself, are looking not only at these new liminal nostalgic pictures, but are also looking at other things as well, like videos, or games, or music. Things from our past. I see it everywhere I go, whether that be online or even in person with people around my age. People playing old games that they used to play, listening to old songs that were popular in the early 2000s. That seems to be a very common trend. How many times have you rewatched The Office, or Friends, or any other old show that you used to watch over and over and over again? That's that nostalgic feeling, especially in recent years where the future was an uncertainty. People went back and watched these old shows. Hell, The Office was the most rewatched show during the pandemic, and I'm sure I don't need to tell you why. Along with people going back to watching old videos online, especially on YouTube, whether that be old Minecraft videos or just old skit videos in general. People look backwards on those days where they didn't have to worry about a pandemic or uncertain futures. All they really had to worry about was what they were going to watch in the next couple hours, or what they were going to listen to. They were simpler times. And this yearning, this need to go backwards to these much more secure times, or times when you felt secure, it's affected our culture tremendously, and, well, it's affected the internet tremendously, because it reminded us of a time when nothing else really mattered. It was just living in the moment. You didn't have to worry about complex school assignments. Back then, school was a joke. You didn't have to worry about writing 5-page essays or complex algebra. Life was simpler, and life was happy. So, that brings us full circle to the main question that I really wanted to answer, and the main reason I'm making this video. The coup de grace, I suppose. What is nostalgia? While that seems like a really complex question to answer, it's actually the most simple, and it's the easiest one to answer. And it really comes from looking at the word nostalgia itself, or rather its derivation. More specifically, its Greek derivation. A couple months ago, I saw this post on TikTok, and I couldn't for the life of me find it, but I remembered it, and I remembered how much of an impact it had on me, and how much it opened my eyes. The Greek derivation of nostalgia comes from two words, nostos and algos. Nostos meaning return, or home, and algos meaning pain. And that's it right there. That's the answer. And you might be asking yourself, well, no, that's not the answer, that's just two different words. I think those two words really describe what nostalgia is. Nostalgia isn't looking backwards per se, it isn't even a good feeling. It's a pain. Nostalgia is the pain of looking backwards. Nostos meaning return or home doesn't literally mean returning to home. It's returning to a time when you felt at home. Because what is home? Home is a place that you're safe, where you feel secure, and hopefully, if you're in a good home, we're happy. And that's exactly what nostalgia is. It's the pain of wanting to return home, of wanting to go back to that time where you felt at home, where you felt like your place in the world was secure, where you didn't have to worry about a future, about what you were going to do the next day, about if the future was going to hold anything for you. Nostalgia is looking back at the time when all you had to do was exist, and that was enough for you. And the pain comes from the fact of knowing that you're never going to go back. There's nothing you can do. You can't turn back the clock. What's done is done, and what's happened has happened. And I think that's what makes nostalgia so potent and so painful, is the fact that there's nothing you can really do to dampen that pain. And there's nothing you can really do to get that old feeling of home back. I think Jacksepticeye said it best in his interview with Anthony Padilla, or rather Anthony's interview with Jacksepticeye.
Everybody who's like, I miss the old Anthony or the old Sean.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you don't. You miss how you felt back when you were watching those videos at that time.
You can play those old games, you can listen to that old song, and you can watch those old movies. And while you might feel something, a little smidge of what you felt back then, you're never going to get the full feeling again. And sometimes you don't even get that old feeling back at all. Sometimes you just get the pain of remembering how you felt back then, or at least remembering that you felt good when you were listening to these songs and playing these games or doing whatever. You remember the good times, and the pain comes from knowing that that time's not going to come back. But it's not all tragedy. No, I refuse to believe that it's all tragedy, that nostalgia is a pain that will persist with you for the rest of your life, knowing that you can't go back to the days when you felt safe, the days that you felt happy. Because the future has so much to hold. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I've got it all figured out. Hell, I struggle with nostalgic pain a lot. I think more than the average person, which is exactly why I'm making this video. But there's something that my dad told me and has been telling me for years. Forward. Always forward. Because that's just it. You can't go back. You can never go back. But the future is always here. It's always coming. And there's always so much to look forward to. Sure, the future is uncertain, and you for certain will deal with bad things ahead, but you'll also deal with good things. There are so many good things ahead of you that if you just open your eyes to the horizon, it will come for you. I also think it's important to point out that while looking forward is not only important but vital, it's not bad to look back either. While dwelling on the past isn't a healthy thing to do, I think it's just nature. Nature to look back on those safer days. But it's not something that you should hold on to while ignoring the future. And I suppose that's the lesson that I'm trying to teach. And that lesson is in moving forward and cherishing what was. And knowing that while you will have uncertain days ahead of you, that past will be with you always. And those memories you have, you'll always look back on with a smile. So, I ask you one last time, are you feeling nostalgic?